just going to wait a few minutes in case anyone. Give me a second to kind of pull some things together here. I have 3 cards that are in the, the cards that are in the advertisement of the title, Heart to Heart. I think that's what I wrote. Heart to Heart Connections, connecting heart to heart. What did I write? I was thinking about today and some of the things I was going through, and just overall intense times, sometimes not feeling like moving ahead, maybe speaking too much, sharing too much. I don't know, seeming, am I needy, am I not needy, what the hell's going on, becoming myself, becoming like right in the center, confident and whatever. Sometimes when you belong to a new group and you're reaching out, and I'm thinking, no, maybe I'm too much reaching out to a new group. What the fuck, I don't know. It's more like I'm trying to make connections. People are trying to live their life. They may not know whatever, and it's up to me to go on my journey and just find out what I find out. Anyway, I've got a lot of my drinks around me. I have a lot of my crystals. I didn't choose to light any incense right now. I've burned quite a bit of incense today, actually. So this is Coyote. Thank you. Welcome to my channel. I know that my title and that my interest was having what the cards would say about connecting with others heart to heart. Basically keeping our hearts open, but I think it's the kind of a thing we just wake up and we don't think about. Protecting but keeping our heart chakra open, welcoming them all in. And that is people around us and situations. And I think we sort of get up. Sometimes we do our prayers and such, but in the mix of intention setting about that which we will not comply, or we don't consent to evil, or I think we could set really big and easy intentions for every day. Like, how can I serve today? Give me signs of my dream coming in that I could not possibly put there myself. What's another one? In fact, I have something I carry in my wallet. Just a moment. Let me share that with you. This, what I'm going to share with you is not very much unlike what Louise Hay, if you want to Google Louise Hay, who's long, she's passed now a year or so from here, probably a couple of years now anyway. And there's things that I carry in my pocketbook, and I probably should remember my purse, and I probably should remember to look at from time to time. Okay, like I carry an affirmation. I am highly magnetic to money, and money is highly magnetic to me. I'm so rich, wealthy, and free. I am free. I am free. I haven't had this in my wallet for a long time. So Louise Hay has said something like this, and there's still interviews and lectures she's done over the years, plus her own books. But also some of what I'm going to read, it came or inspired or said by Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who worked with Heart Math Institute in California, is a worldwide lecturer on the relationship between the power of the mind and the healing of the body. And he is renowned that he had actually healed his whole spine when he was told he would need a Hemingway rod from pretty much the base, of his skull to his root chakra all the way down his back. And that it would be highly unlikely he'd be an athlete, or highly unlikely that he would walk or walk well, if at all. And he would be a somewhat disabled person. Being a young chiropractor at the time of his injury, he decided after a lot of several days in a row of dark night of the soul that he decided if he was from something infinite, if there was some cosmic presence more than he was, yet he was all part of it, that created everything, everyone, any kind of concept you could imagine and such. If there was such a powerful entity and he was from it, then certainly he was not resigned at he might have been 24. I'm not really clear his age. He certainly wasn't over 32 when it happened, but maybe he was 26. But he was a practicing, successful chiropractor in California, and his own surgeon and two others had said, you know, you basically need this thing in your back and you're not ever going to walk. So he said, I'll take the painkillers and I'll go home and think about it, because he didn't want the surgery. And he wanted to, since he knew the anatomy, his business was the spine and repair, he wanted to think about it. So he had this epiphany. And what he started to do was practice seeing his spine in alignment corrected and the vertebra coming together reconstructed perfectly. And in the beginning, it took him several days because he had decided he needed to see the actual spine click in place. And if he got frustrated, worried, upset, didn't believe it, and he kind of stopped, or he was putting this construct together in his mind incorrectly, or he was interrupted in some way, shape, or form, he started over again. And eventually, every day that he took some time to manage and practice this, he got better at it so that he would see the spine as if a movie reconstructed in place. And he didn't let other thoughts stop him, interrupt him, or other people, or whatever was happening in his home environment, which mostly was he was pretty much I think he was laying face down and probably on somewhat like a massage or chiropractic table, because he couldn't lie on his back. He was reconstructing, and he was in a lot of pain, and he admits he was not pleasant to be around. So his wife and his family did not find him. He was going through his dealing with a timeline that he didn't know was going to be a choice for him to choose his empowerment, or kind of live into the role of the victim that this great accident happened to, and a life from that without feeling like a victim. So he reached a place where he saw his spine constructed, and he worked that way. And it wasn't long after, it might have been 10 weeks, he was walking, he was back in a gym. And other doctors were like, what? In fact, so much so, people thought he faked everything, or that he just lied. But he went through an episode, and I am sure he has, the x-rays. I also met him a long time ago, but I did not have the wherewithal to ask him some questions, and I just observed him. And he was very, sort of saw this man, he was very tickled to, very pretty, wasp type woman, very, beautiful, characteristic beauty of the epitome of a Jewish woman. She had his attention, and I think it also was maybe a friend of the family, or a friend of, and anyway, they had the conversation, and I wasn't really sure what to say. I probably could have come up with something. I did buy his book at the time. I didn't read it all. It's very heady, his books are not easy to read. His lectures are easy to follow. And his workshops seem like they're not easy to follow, where he teaches people how to heal themselves, cure themselves, but he gives them tools enough and there's practice enough within that seminar. So they not only are very, he doesn't let anyone leave until they solidly know exactly how, what the, um, you know, what the steps are in their own physical healing and how they can teach it to others. Because he decided if he could take the different concepts that he was being in receiving insights for, and that he was in partnership with HeartMath for, and that he was getting that this stuff works, he felt if he can teach it and have other people grasp it and learn it, it's teachable. So people can leave his seminars and teach others. They're not like feeling assigned, like, I don't remember what to do. I always need to go to the doctor. I need to go to Dr. Joe. This is really interesting because I've been a person, for example, that I kind of know stuff. I know a lot of stuff. And sometimes I don't learn it well because it sometimes is so feeling beyond my grasp that intuitively I rather just know what I know. However, there's something to be said about being able to teach something as simplistically as possible, though it's so very powerful, and be with the person you're with, the student, if you like, the could call them a devotee, you could call them a patron, whatever you want to call that ally, and you're partnered in such a way that, like, I will not leave you until you get it. If I'm going to teach something, and I think that's the way to facilitate worldwide empowerment, personal empowerment to someone else. It's not about secrets and jumping through hoops and you have to be special and memorize all this kind of shit. It's you. If a teacher is really good, they're able to speak the student's language, not the student having to speak the teacher's language. If the teacher, mentor, or facilitator, way show, or light bearer is any worth their salt, they'll teach you something and break it down in a way that you will get it. You'll get it because they will speak your language. And they will not mince words, but they assimilate it so that you can then proceed with the information, still the same information, no matter how it's really said, but it's said authentically and it's said in a style that that receiver fully gets it. They can recite it back, they can have a conversation about it, and you know, as the facilitator, teacher, or mentor, yeah, you get it. So now you know you got it. Let's hear it again, or talk about it enough, and you allow that student to repeat things back to you, so you know they got it, and they can go and teach it. They can go and live it. So Dr. Joe Dispenza says something like this, and maybe I got some of this from Louise Hay in a way, but so there are things that we can practice, and I think this will have to do with the universe talking to us, how we can connect with others and ourselves, heart to heart, connecting heart to heart. What can I give away today? Now, this was before this group, Connecting Consciousness, that I know of came into being, but here it is in a different way. Connecting Consciousness, where their basic premise is a group that wants to harmonize, uplifting, and serving the planet for their highest destiny or their highest best, living into beingness to uplift and serve the planet for the highest good. So how can I serve others? What can I give away today? How can I serve others? That is, the universe and others. Be kind to me and others. And then Dr. Joe says something like, notice this practice in the moments that to be supernatural is to feel supernatural and to be aware or observe synchronized events, to feel and give gratitude out loud and as much as possible, and take time to notice and to be open of the space around me. the space around me? Do you feel the space around you? Do you feel the space come into you? Do you feel other people's vibrations, whether they're 2 feet away or 20 feet away? Right? We have the expression that looks good, kill. Right? That's a kind of pretty vibrational, easy one because it seems like it involves sight for those of us who have sight. But what about folks who don't have sight? The blind sometimes develop that sixth sense so easily because they feel the space around them. Mm. This is the drink with the honey, the cayenne, the lemon, the ginger, the clove, of garlic. Oh, I'm glad you're here. If you're able to go back, Deborah, you might like the beginning, I think, a little bit, but no pressure, no force. I'm glad to see you. So with all that I've brought up, I thought it might be nice to turn some cards on, connecting with others heart to heart. And some of this was really just triggered as a trigger today when I felt like I was let myself be triggered by something in the air or something of another person. Now, as the energies are intense and things are being cleaned up and everything's bombarding the planet, sometimes we might have thoughts or a feeling or whatever that might not really be our own. It might belong to another person. It might belong to the collective that's out there, but it's bombarding us because of frequency. Thank you for you. I appreciate you. And so we may have thoughts, and we're being infiltrated by unusual thoughts, or we're being infiltrated by something so subtle. And I think it's a form of mind control. I think it's a form of something in the air that instigates us on even a subtle level, and it moves us to be snappy or defensive or mean or vindictive or have an evil thought or see evil things in our heads or feel less confident, worried. Anything that's like slightly to the debilitating, snotty side, whatever the word that might be along that lines. And so, and this kind of came up with my mentor. I think she mentioned this, but as I think about it today and some of the things that were happening with me, I did want to take a nap and overall tiredness. I didn't get to walk, and maybe perhaps I didn't even want to. I did also want to share that I did notice, so someone was going to do my hair. And I really like that idea based on a color in the front and maybe a color in the back. And I also did notice, it was very subtle, we were also different. Like, I knew I was chatting and chatting, we were chatting and chatting, we were really connecting. There's a part of me that does that, but I know I need more time to nail myself down. But I really enjoyed connecting with her, and so I let my program like that talk with her. And not to lead her on, but at the same time, I probably would have liked a trim. And something happened from, she had 2.5 hours or something, and now she only had 2 hours. Anyway, I took the date for this particular event to happen, knowing I would blonde, I'd take care of my roots and she could just put the color on. And we were a match, and we were not complete match in some ways, just because I kind of wanted to do, or I thought I wanted to do my color a particular way, and she doesn't, she does the way she does it. And she seems like a really excellent colorist and a very nice person. I gave her a shout out a few times, but she's was it Uxbridge, and she was Kristen Joy Cole, and she can be found on Instagram. But I think it's Kristen does hair, but she seems really lovely, and she's highly in demand, and I'm happy for her. And it just seemed like whatever I was evolving to, I needed a little more time and kind of want to stay with the products I'm interested in at this time. And there's this slightest feeling of maybe I really want to do it myself, but with privacy, because it's going to take me a while. But I was willing to. I'll part with the dollars or come up with the dollars for her because, of course, she deserves her token. But there was always something a little off. And what I'm noticing and that I really want to nail down in my human form, sometimes I'm very excited to do something, but I do need more time to be specific with myself, or I may seem like I'm wanting to move forward, but it's just not the correct timing. And so it can lead to a hiccup, like a misunderstanding or things not working out. And I also think it's appropriate. So my appointment with this young woman is not going to happen on the 30th. And I think that's appropriate because I feel like my hair idea can go in a couple of directions. And, in the end, I was kind of willing, like, would cut my hair and just put a little color on. But I think it was appropriate. She went ahead and put someone else in that place that she knows is going to be, they have 2 hours and she knows these other clients, and so she knows what they require, and that's fine. And I just think that for what it is I truly want, if I were going to let a professional do it, I think I'm looking at 3 hours, not 2 hours, and maybe 3.5. It's just what I think. And because it's a new relationship, I did not want to leave. I didn't want to go into that relationship and then feeling like I set myself up that it wasn't going to be ultimately what I would like. So, kudos to her and kindness to her. And she's highly in demand, and I admire that. And I would like that for myself, and I would like that for anybody who has their dream and is creative in doing their passion. So I think this heart to heart that I was wanting to get from the cards is just to remind us that during this time, it is doing, having this. Probably this practice would be really a good guideline for heart to heart, which is, what can you give away today? And sometimes that's a prayer or a kind thought. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's clothes you don't wear. Sometimes it's a dessert you made and you brought it to someone. It doesn't matter. You don't have to give what you don't have to give, but you're compelled to share. And it's not thought of as a random act of kindness. It's just something that is innately you, innately part of the being, and just your everyday, like brushing your teeth or combing your hair or making a bed or petting your cat or drinking a glass of water or, looking up at the sky. It's just a part of the style in which you choose to move forward in the world with. So what can I give away? How can I serve others? How can I empower and partner with the universe and others? Be kind to yourself, be kind to me, be kind to others. Notice in this practice the moments of you being supernatural, to feel supernatural, to feel supernatural, to feel your goddess God self, to feel you as that vibration of love, to feel supernatural, and and you feel and observe the synchronized events around you. To feel and give gratitude aloud, to feel and give gratitude aloud as much as possible. You might be driving, you might be making your bed, you might be walking around your house, you might be walking down the street, you might be taking a little walk, like they say, driving your car, doing your shopping. Things will pop into your head. You look up at the sky and you say, thank you for this great day. Thank you that my car works. I love my sheets. Thank you so much. So glad for the water, the toilet flushes. Thank you for that. And, the shower pressure. Thank you for the shower and the water. Thank you for my drink. Thank you for sharing your money with me. Meaning, if you're getting a paycheck, Social Security, finding money on the ground, creating a job, giving money by others for whatever reason, or it still is the universe's money. It still is the universe's abundance coming through different channels. And take time to notice and be aware of the space that's around you, goes through you, envelops you, the space outside your window, the space that really permeates and penetrates into your room, the space that's here and through you. in the space around others, noticing, feeling vibration of things, just noticing, being aware of the space within the space within the space. So, two people I'll also encourage you to check out, and a lot of their things are free. Dr. Joe Dispenza. I want to say Despenza, but Dr. Joe Dispenza should come up. He also has a Facebook group. And there's several books that he wrote, but also there's just a lot of free interviews and a lot of free, I think he does have some of his work is free that you actually have had to purchase at one time or still can purchase. And maybe he has an upgraded version of those for purchase from his site. But they're very different. They're very unusual. So if you're looking for like calm yoga music, that's not all of it. It's very, but not instigating, but it's invigorating, and yet you breathe into it. But he's a very, I think he's very heart centered. I don't know that he's very egoic. I don't know him personally. Following people on Facebook would give you a better idea. The ones on his site, but some people that know him better, that they can tell you better than I can. But I don't think ultimately he's egoic. I think ultimately he's very pleased with how his work went, and I think it's turned out extremely differently than he ever thought. And on old interviews, I believe he says so. But based on who he was when he started the journey of starting to offer the style of what I'll call healing work in a sense, right? Healing, but it wasn't like he planned it. He was sharing his vision, sharing his journey, that what he did, and other things started to happen, like beings or angels or guides being seen by those in attendance to his workshops, and he started to see them too. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, and then Louise Hay. A lot of her work is free online. A lot of her story and her books, their audiobooks free online. Some are through Audible as well. But she has a lot of wisdom, even though her work may look like from the 70s or 80s and maybe 90s. It's still very timeless. So I'm going to give those two people a shout in terms of mentoring, uplifting, inspired. Their work is timeless and helpful. And Louise Hay she was older when she did some of her meditations. So those meditations will sound a little bit like grandma style or a little outdated, but they're very loving and they're very, very centering and they're very heartfelt. This is so good. I'm gonna sip one sip. Super spicy. Take a sip of something cold, and then we'll move on to the cards. So, oh my God, I love my blue green algae, my sacred life. Oh my God. So I'm addicted to that. So that's a little bit how I'm getting my water in today. But at least I'll finish one of these, right? I had something earlier. I had some water earlier. Okay, let's get into it. So if it feels right, I'm going to pull the oracle cards, but I want to show you the cards that I pulled as a theme for what the cards might have to say to us heart to heart. And I got the star, number 17, which is also 8. Of course, those of us who know number 17, I can't really see that, right? Can you see that? Hang on. It's going to show. It's sort of, yeah. 17 or 8. Money, abundance, infinity, the universe, hearing us, but also 17, the 17th letter of the alphabet, and what the Q teams have prophesized, said about current times. And I believe that's all in the mix, the sharing of heart to heart, the coming together of lots of truth. But also 8 being, just a great cosmic number for abundance and in balance, in eternal everlastingness. And I want to get my book. I think sometimes I should use puppets, maybe to sound more engaging. I just feel I feel pretty grounded right now, and I know that my languaging feels rather, quiet, and I feel like I'm just going into the ease of quiet this evening. But so abundance, prosperity, infinite supplies, what you need, the sign of success, empower yourself, and let the number 8 boost your confidence as well as money flow. It's ever that eternal symbol, the infinity sign. And then 2, which is also about balance and partnering and male and female and the vibration of balance, co-create with the universe. It resonates with peace and flexibility and adaptability and diplomacy, which is this is the high priestess. It's kind of a little bit how I feel right now, just sort of that kind of quiet, kind of knowing, a little bit introspective. And we also have a Hierophant. The Hierophant, Earth, she's number 5, Earth, Air, Fire, Water, Spirit. And also, what was on Paula Simone's site the other day was, let's see, it was faith, surrender, truth, trust, and love, which I also equated with earth, air, fire, water, spirit. The adventure. I should memorize these a little bit better, right? Adventure, change, manifestation, appreciation of the world around you, gratitude, right? Gratitude was in the first card. You may go on a journey listening to your body, and faith in action, intuition in motion. I'll make up little index cards on these. I happen to like the way that I found the numbers online and the way they resonated for me. I feel like they really do, come up and match up. So heart to heart, and I think too, it's not just being heart to heart with other people. It's our hearts. It's our heart to our heartbeats. So there wasn't a doctor that wrote a book that was pretty powerful. And it was about how every human heartbeat is connected to every human heartbeat everywhere. And that he had his own epiphany once he was hospitalized for something. And he went through what patients go through in a hospital for whatever his condition was. And that he felt like he really wasn't heard. He really wasn't taken care of well. He really felt like just a number. He really felt like his own emotional needs and his intellect was discarded because the doctors and nurses over him treated him in such a way like more delicate and or kind of withholding information, and also like he was stupid. And he had been the head of, I don't know, either some ward or some hospital or something. But their attitudes were, one of superiority and delicacy. So he ended up writing this book, and it may have been like he was in a coma, and yet what he either felt and observed and also observed as a patient and his own healing process. And I really wish I remember the title, but I don't. But that is some book that was probably written at least within the last 10 years for sure, and maybe much less. And that also kind of complements what Dr. Joe, like you can read a lot about him, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and his heart work. He's interviewed a lot by Lululemon, who's traveled around the world to interview those in the know or famous people who are doing a lot of metaphysical spiritual work and have lectured around the world, like a Wayne Dyer. And isn't it interesting? A lot of these famous people who seem to have so much together, money, position, seem like to know the steps on how to execute behavior. They all have had something go on. I mean, like Dr. Joe is very private about his marriage. You never really hear him talk about his wife. He will talk about his children. So whatever that could mean. And then you have Dr. Wayne Dyer, who I believe he ended up passing away from his cancer, which is very interesting. And he also went through a divorce. So it's like everyone has their soul journey. No one is above reproach. We're we're going through this greatest time for our own clearing out and to grasp onto our own mastery. And so even though it's not just assumed that you're great and powerful and wonderful and have been here many lifetimes, but again in the human body, because we're really going to be remembering more, and I'm expecting my total amnesia to lift anytime, and I'm going to be asking for that for sure if I haven't. I feel like, it's still up to us in that willingness to observe the space around us and observe the space within for that clearing out, for that heart to heart. And, excuse me, I'm a little leaky there. One second. So, heart to heart. So I kind of wanted to pull the cards on the messages for the heart to heart. But with these three cards, and normally, I wanted to pick cards for show, but now I don't feel like anything's an accident, and I should read what these were about, having to do heart to heart with others, and navigating our time now, paying attention to that. So this whole theme of this conversation is heart to heart, and in the mix, paying attention to our hearts, paying attention how we have our heart open or closed toward other people, and then how we can be mindful about this relationship of heart to heart connection. So, in these cards, they sort of were all mulled together, and I'm kind of thinking that what came through, I think the two was first, and then the star, and then the Hierophant, or the star and the High Priestess, and then the Hierophant was last. So I remember that. I'm just trying to think of how I put this. So I'm going to go with the High Priestess first and see what the High Priestess says. I haven't pulled the Oracle cards yet, but let's just see. So in connections to heart, and navigating this time, like just being mindful of our space, heart to heart connections to others. And you remember better than what I say sometimes, but the heart to heart connection to ourselves, the heart to heart connection to others, and in this space, helping with our mastery. So the High Priestess is about mystery. Some things are not meant to be known intellectually, but are meant to be experienced through intuition. This card reminds me to trust that I have access to higher wisdom and knowing when I tune in and trust my vibes. This is a time when mysteries will be revealed and I can grow as a result. Mysteries will be revealed and I can grow as a result. These are the times of the Great Awakening, the times of amnesia lifting, the times when we are meeting our higher selves, the times when we're meeting others from higher density, because a part of us is also willing to grow into that higher fifth dimension. And trust. So remember, trust was one of the five. The faith, the surrender, the truth, and trust, and love. So the High Priestess in number 2, the balance, the vibe. Vibe of balance. Star 17, number 8. We were going over the numbers, but star 17, let's see. Inspiration. I am hopeful and inspired by life right now, and everything that is happening points to a renewed sense of encouragement. After all the changes I've experienced, I'm starting to recognize the hope that comes with new beginnings. I think this is really a wonderful one for all of us, connecting heart to heart, connecting to our own heart, willing to protect our chakras, protect our heart, but yet it's open, it's not closed down. And when it starts to close because we want to be right or we're triggered, or something subtle in the air, is giving us information that doesn't quite feel like us, and we're behaving in such a way out of fear And definitely, if we're not out of love, then just kind of noticing the space around us and then claiming, just stopping, just stop. And noticing and going, whoa, okay, that came to me, but that's not of me. And I know better. I do not consent. I am of a higher vibe. I am putting this over to connection with my higher selves, my higher powers, my higher protections, and I'm going to walk in my trust, certainty, faith, and in my heart. I am hopeful and inspired by life right now, and everything that is happening points to a renewed sense of encouragement. After all the changes I have experienced, I'm starting to recognize the hope that comes with new beginnings, and we have this great chance and this great awakening for our new beginning. It's a little bit like when I used to do a lot of yoga, every class they'd say, every day new. Begin as a beginner. Come to the class. Come to your yoga class with new eyes. Come to your yoga class as if you haven't been to yoga before. Try to put aside that you've been the yoga champion or you really excel at that pose or you've accomplished a lot within that pose or you've been here a while so you're not completely green, you do know some of it, but try to see it, try to have a new experience with what you already know so that you blossom even more. And the Hierophant, number 5, which I love that number 5, right about adventure, change, manifestation, appreciation of the world around you, the gratitude of all the abundance around you, which there is. Even, we all have something could easily bother us. It'd be so easy to let our shadows, let our past harm our hearts further. But that just shuts us down. And in some of that uh, imagination and difficulty and experience, some of the guilt, some of the feltness of situations, it doesn't always lead us to feel like it's the proudest moment or the happiest moment, but we can find some victory in observing and loving, and treating ourselves tender so that we master our own dark side of not catching our triggers or our behavior or the thing we should have noticed or our heart being closed or fearful just a little or a lot. And we can make new beginnings. We can say, I was this, I will switch, I am this now. So I need to catch myself and say, I am an athlete, I am cute, I am beautiful. I need to catch myself, I am abundant. It's kind of like, when I went to pay my access tax today, and I could have said, well, I really don't have that $60, and I could have lingered there. But I did have it, of course. I did have it. It's just, I may not have wanted to pay it. I may have wanted to be correct and right. I may have wanted to be slightly mean because I feel like the systems that we've been involved in were meant to be evil and take from us, right? But that these are all things that are being worked on and worked out, and the universe will provide. And I am slightly noticing more and more that I'm feeling more easily, naturally, that the universe will deliver. I deserve my cottage. I deserve my home. I deserve my heart to be open. I deserve to feel really good. I deserve to be beautiful. I deserve to feel cute. I deserve to feel healthy, and it's wonderful. I'm an athlete. I deserve to have the right color for my hair, whatever the hell. I deserve to have fun playing around with hair color. I deserve, change it all the time. Change it up. One day it may be purple. One day it may be blonde. One day maybe black. Sometimes I think even in myself, there's a tendency to want to belong in the herd and share the things that I'm going to do next and then get thwarted even a little by those that seem to have my best interests at heart. But the fact is, they would never dye their hair pink, you know? And even though someone so dear to me is saying, well, you're more like the brown, you shouldn't be the black. Well, look, I've got gray, black root, I'm black. My dark brown is not completely chestnut. I am more black gray. So if I have black hair, fuck it. If I look 1,000 years old, fuck it. It's like it's being creative. And for anyone that resonates with you or is attracted to you, they're attracted to you for more than just a hair color or just how tight your bum looks. They're attracted to you because there's an equality of energy that's in alignment to have a conversation, to feel loving feelings, or of course the other end of the spectrum. So I think that these cards are just kind of a nice little segue into heart to heart. And they're beautiful too. I really love how we're stars, we're powered by the stars. The Hierophant, she's sort of like equal to the Magician. I really don't know the exact definition of a Hierophant. So hang on a second, one moment. And you may know it better than I do. What is the definition of Hierophant?
Here's the definition of event. A thing that happens, especially one of importance.
No, you goofy thing. This is so... You know how these computers hear what they want to hear. Hereroph-A-N-T. There you go. Ah, this is cool. A person, especially a priest in ancient Greece, who interprets sacred mysteries or esoteric principles. Stop, cat. I have a cat. She hurts me. Stop it. You're going to have to be put out of the room if you continue. That's my power. That's my power. She hurts. She hurts. She has her claws that go in me. And she just wants attention. So, you have my attention. You don't have to hurt me. You don't have to hurt me, buddy. I don't like it. I don't like that. All right. So, don't you feel like a Hierophant? Don't you feel like that you're studying or that you're protecting sacred mysteries or interpreting sacred mysteries? I feel a little bit like that because you are powered by the star. You are a star. You are a god, goddess, and high priestess. Oh my gosh. They're all like really related, aren't they? Okay, stop. Definition of high priestess.
Here's the definition of high priestess. A female high priest.
Yeah, that was simple. Okay. So I feel a little bit low key tonight, and my energy might feel like that, but it all seems to be on purpose. I mean, I'm on purpose. It all seems to go together and be on purpose. Let me just see. I'm going to ask just for 3 cards from Miss. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. Come here. Come on. Come on. Out. Out. Come on. Out. Go, go. The kitty. Kitty is very dear, but Kitty hurts. Kitty sometimes she claws my legs, and I guess that would be like me not wanting to be in my heart at the moment of whackness, but her claws in my leg hurt, so she had to go. And that is appropriate for trying to, keep on keeping on. All right. Yeah, I thought I handled that pretty well. And then Kitty's still here. she's still fine. All right. So let's see. Let's see what the oracle cards will have to say on keeping our heart connection to ourselves, making the best use of our heart connection, serving others. I mean, I really feel like the things that came up with Dr. Joe and Louise Hay and those 3 cards, they were a nice theme and a segue. But let's just see if we can get 3 or 4 cards on help us connect heart to heart. help us see a bigger picture with heart to heart, the value of heart to heart, the magic and the power of heart to heart, the benefit of keeping our heart chakra open, protected, open. How we can choose this. This is our power. And remind us of our heart power. Okay. 4 cards. Let's see what's up. Hmm. Well, these are cards that I know on a couple of them I'm going to look into deeper. The first one is also a number 17. Trust in the universe, in terms of prosperity, balance, the flow, the infinite, everlasting continuum. Not just money flow, but, oh gosh, I must be getting tired to totally, we just did this one, right? The infinite supplies what you need. So in this heart-to-heart connection, what we've got is ancestral dancing. This is a reflection of ancestors that lived underground and were invited by the gods. And let's say the story better another time, but the overview is that there were certain humans that were brought at the time deep into the ground to be protected until it was the right time to come back out and reconnect with everyone. And this is disconnect and go underground for a while. And this card to me, 2 things. The ancestors in their hearts were protecting others and saved them. They brought them underground. They also re-emerged when it was the right time. And there was gratitude and thanks for, the connection that they had with you might say their leaders or ancestors or God, goddess. It's also, to me, there's 3 there. So things happening in 3s, mind, body, spirit. Very kind of a holy number 3. Just see. Motivation, movement, flow of energies, things happening in 3s. The energy of philanthropy, the vortex energy of love, wisdom, and good fortune. Go after your dreams. So there's a celebratory card. This is a card called the Hopi Prophecy. So in this particular religion, they talk about a particular style of people who were saved by basically the beings that look like insect-like, and they kept them safe under the ground. But that's a whole nother part that I'm not going to completely go into now. So connecting with the heart, disconnect and go underground for a while. The only thing I get from that right now in terms of the disconnect is, even though you're protecting your heart, and you're protecting your heart, keeping your heart open for love and to be authentically yourself. The disconnect for me would be not allowing yourself to be a doormat, because love is a supreme power, but not a doormat. So you can love yourself and love others. Love, you don't have to put up like or excuse darkness, bad behavior, transgressions, people that have harmed, and you maybe feel very well justified. And you disconnect for me is not exactly the right word, but there's definitely that protection, and you don't have to allow yourself to be trampled over. Very much, very centeredly and with authority, but a grounded kind of love and care. You can say, no, this is inappropriate. It's very, it comes without having an affect that is no or no. Or it's like not having this other charge and trigger to it. You seek to have no affect. It's no, no. It's very calm, very straight, very centered. Don't be a victim was right next to it, which is number 7. Prepare for spiritual awakening, which is don't be a victim. That your power of your heart being protected and yet open is not the same as being a pushover or being so disconnected that you're not accountable to the knowledge of the vibration of each human heart being connected to one another. I'm wondering if it counts to dogs and cats. I think I said once it did, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did, because I don't feel like some dogs and cats are just dogs and cats. I feel like they've been people or they're walk ins from other planets or having an experience as an animal being, but they're very, very wise, and we have to learn how to relate and hear their language. The portal is open. 22, number 4. I haven't had a 4 in a while, have I? I think there was one a few days ago, but I don't have it as often as I have a number 8 or the 7 or the 9 that's been coming up. So being leap of faith, get out of your own comfort zone, creating your sacred space, honoring your temple. So the number 4 to me, it is honoring your heart. And you honor your heart even more when you're in your power of authority, brightness, protecting your heart, keeping it open. It's like allowing yourself to expand and feel the space within, through, and around you. The portal is open. This is interesting because I think as our hearts truly open and we are diving into our mastery and cleaning out shadow, we are going to be visited very easily by the off-worlders because, of course, they've been coming here and they've been here for different reasons, and people have seen them and had experiences. But I think that we'll have more of that as we clean up our own selves, honor our heart, have that heart-to-heart connection, because they can trust that they can trust us. They can feel our vibe, not the confusion of. They can feel our authenticity and our hearts be open and our knowingness, the alignment of that love frequency, that heart frequency that's so strong. And yet, Elena Denan was talking also about, her off-worlder friends and mentors and saying how they're just people, that they're from a different dimension and they may overall vibe higher, but they're not God's, like they're not necessarily spiritual. Like it's not like they're not necessarily, if their role is a warrior, they're a warrior. And they happen to know some things. If their role is a warrior, there may be some that are psychic. If the role is a warrior, there may be some that come from a priestess, lineage. but they're like us, at a little bit higher vibration because that's their world, and that's their evolution. And we are from them as well. We're meeting our ancestors. And then there are those that are even a higher dimension, whether that's 17th or 22nd dimension. And yeah, I don't think they're going to necessarily physically be here. They could be here, what do you call, holographically, just like we'll be able to be with them holographically, because the planetary environments, the sphere, the space, has to be the correct conditions to actually be physically present. So when we are understanding technology, when we are privy to and understanding technology better, and we are even more aligned in purity, I think that we will be then at least visiting with some holographically, because I think this is already possible anyway. Think outside the flock. 9, 10, 11, which is number two. Did I get, no, he's the first time for two. So, oh, we had two. I'm sorry, I'm kind of, did I have a two with the other ones? It was 17 was 8. It was a 5. And then what? My gosh. I should have kept them out. I should have 17, 5, and a 2. I had a 2. Okay. I wasn't imagining. You have the vibration of balance to create with the universe, resonates with peace, flexibility, diplomacy, and adaptability. Harmony and balance, expect that. Allow yourself to connect to your higher self. So, yes, the heart energy, if we can just always, these are some things that we don't think of every day, right? The things about, like, okay, I want to connect to my higher self. Like, we wake up in the morning and say that to ourselves. Or if we actually would have a list that says, what can I give away? How can I be the best bird? How can I be the best version of myself? Yeah, what is the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today? If we might remember that, what is the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today? Wouldn't we notice our hearts being open or closed? Wouldn't we notice how we protected our hearts? And what we invited by our hearts being open and our spaces connected, but we're vibing in that alignment of truth and care and trust and surrender and love and faith. Yeah. So at some point, I'll probably write this down on Facebook and share, or I can repeat it to you, because I think this list is helpful, and you've helped me remind me that I carry them in my purse. So on a subconscious level, I know they're there. And I know when I first put them in for a while, I looked at that every day to remind me of my beingness and heart connection and heart power, heart protection. Think outside the flock, right? We're in the matrix, we're part of the matrix, but we see things differently. And how can we see the flock and ourselves in a heart-centered, connected way? By protecting our chakras, protecting our heart chakras, by being open. So number 2 is that balance. Vibration of balance, co-create with the universe, seeking harmony in conflicts. Wow, resonate with peace, flexibility, diplomacy, adaptability. Allow yourself to connect to your highest self, pointing to the relationships in teamwork or communication. Right? So I wonder what all the numbers add up together. Let's just see. 8, 7, 4, 2, so 6 and 8, 14, 7, 21. Oh, 3, you like this. Right? Mind, body, spirit, things happening in threes. Threes to me, I want to say this twice tonight. To me, 3 is like a holy connection. But motivation, movement, flow of energies happening in threes, magic in motion, the energy of philanthropy, Emotions or energy, vortex energy, love, wisdom, good fortune, go after your dreams, live life to the fullest, connect to your highest wisdom, listen to the threes because that's usually a thing, and that three idea or thing that information is calling you. But that is really cool in terms of if we live from our hearts, followed our dream, protected our chakras, protected our heart chakra. If we said, what was the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today in this moment, of all those things that we aspire to from our hearts, our heart connection to others and ourselves, would we be more happy? Would we be more knowing of ourselves? Would we have those moments where we have tears because our feelings come up and we have to express that which has been inside the shadow that hurts? And would we have tears of such appreciation because of the very air we breathe? And sometimes lately too, like I feel like my air, I can't breathe the air well enough. So something I think is going on with the air again, like I said, that we're being bombarded by so much that it's really important to remember about earth, air, fire, water, spirit, our connection, earth, air, fire, water, the connection to others, faith, surrender, truth, trust, love. Faith, surrender, truth, trust, love. What's the greatest ideal that I could be of myself today? And that may be just saying, having your gratitudes out loud. And that may just say, I say a prayer for the world. And that may be for when you're saying it for others, but especially if you're willing to say, I have a hard time saying a prayer for those type of people. So I'm going to turn this over to my higher self. I'm going to turn this over to the God force because what I'd really like is to send out great energy with humility and respect, in the power of love, in my own nobility. Help me forgive. Help me send out the energy that as those that are willing to have an epiphany of seeing things clearly, they see it. Meanwhile, take my judgment from me because I am unseen by my enemy. I am unseen by fault finders and finger pointers and naysayers. And by my own admission, I too let go of judgment and naysaying. So, living from the heart connection, heart to heart of others, heart to our own heart. And it's something we really can't avoid, but we've been taught to put up walls and especially protect our hearts as to not be vulnerable, to not appear stupid, although our actions kind of give it away, doesn't it? The way we might smile. And people can feel energy, even if they haven't known what to call it all the time, even if they've ignored it because their own wall is up, and it might be easy because they don't feel the subtleties. But now many more people will and do, they just don't know what to call it. They just don't know what to call it. So I think that's why I'm here. And perhaps you too. You know, we're all on our soul path. And to tell you the truth, for me, I'm really glad. I mean, I wouldn't have known a couple of years ago that I truly was supposed to help people spiritually. I may have liked the idea of doing that years ago, but I didn't feel worthy enough. And now, even like I'm tired a little bit tonight and I'm stumbling over words, I've been wanting to connect with this heart thing. And you have given me the opportunity to remember a little bit more, or practice a little bit more, or bring my tools out of the toolbox on the road that's destined for me, which is that road of emissary, healing artist, um, assistant to transmute energies. And I want to have a lot of fun. hmm I want to be my athlete self again, go out in nature. You know, there was a time I walked every morning before other things happened, right? Before you really even go into your full day, walk 20 minutes or 40 minutes. And so that's feeling appealing to me to do that. And, one could say, well, I don't have the right tennis and I don't have the right shoes, and I may not, but I can start. So you are helping me all be accountable, not only to me, but to you and to this world that we're reinvested in and recreating heart to heart. Well, I'm going to end it here. My little coyote heart loves you. Certainly, if you ever have any themes that you'd like explored, please submit them. You are powered by the stars, and remember to activate that power within. It's within your reach. And tomorrow, as you go to bed tonight, and I put my little cheat sheet so I can read it for you. What is the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today? Heart to your heart to others' heart.